Logitech has been making great wireless gaming mice for years, culminating in the nearly perfect Logitech G900 Chaos Spectrum. The company went all out on the G900, with a striking design, swappable sides, and buttons galore. Suppose though, that what you want in a wireless gaming mouse is the exact opposite, something smooth, simple and lightweight. You can now have the Logitech G Pro Wireless mouse. While the G Pro Wireless looks and feels like the exact opposite of the G900, the performance is just as good. This small sleek mouse features flawless wireless performance and a top-notch sensor, but with a simple, stripped-down design, and no extra weight to speak of. In fact, the mouse is astonishingly light, and that's probably going to be divisive. The same features that make the G Pro Wireless attractive for tournament players may make it a tougher sell for those who just want a solid wireless mouse. Still, the G Pro Wireless is an excellent version of what it set out to be. While it's pretty expensive, the G Pro Wireless will probably hit the sweet spot for players who need excellent wireless performance for competitive multiplayer titles. Design. In the intro, I mentioned this is a light mouse, so naturally you're wondering just how light it is. At just 80 grams, it's one of the lightest mice on the market, if not the lightest overall. This theoretically allows for faster mouse movement, and also makes it easier to pick up and flick around. To put it into context, the Razer Mamba Wireless is 106 grams, and a wired mouse like the Logitech G502 goes all the way up to 121 grams. So believe me, 80G is featherweight. Logitech achieved this by using a thinner exoskeleton, and by going with a smaller than average Li Pro battery, that runs for a very long time. Logitech hasn't quoted any numbers, but the Logitech G Hub software noted that a full charge was good for 41 hours. You charge the internal battery with a USB cable that connects to the front of the mouse, and you can easily use it as a wired mouse while it's charging. Aside from its weight, this mouse offers several innovative features, so let's tackle them one at a time. It's an ambidextrous mouse, and Logitech allows for side buttons on either side, or none at all. In the box there's 2 extra buttons, and 2 extra placeholders, should you decide to remove all the buttons. The buttons are held in place with magnets, and are a snap to remove and swap out. The mouse has a fairly low-profile design, so it isn't really intended for people who want to have a big mouse squarely in their palm. If you're like me, and tend to grip the mouse with your pinky and thumb on the sides, it is quite comfortable. The entire mouse features smooth, black plastic, and none of it is textured at all, which I did not like, as I prefer some extra grip on the sides. Here's another new and possibly controversial design decision: the DPI toggle button is underneath the mouse. Instead of having a button behind the mouse wheel or somewhere easily reachable, Logitech moved it to the belly of the beast. In the press briefing on this, they just said their research informed them that most people never use it, so it just gets in the way. However, some people still want it, so they threw it on the bottom of the mouse to make those people happy. I'm perfectly fine with this, as I'm one of those people that never switches DPI. In addition to the DPI switch, the bottom of the mouse also houses the on-off switch, and a slot for the USB receiver that's covered by a magnetic lid. I love that you can put the receiver inside the mouse so easily. Features. The G Pro Wireless runs on either the Logitech gaming software, or the newer Logitech G Hub, depending on your preference. Logitech gaming software is robust and reliable, but looks and feels a little outdated. Logitech G Hub is slick and shiny, but still needs to iron out a few bugs. So choose wisely. Either way, the software is functional and lets you control quite a few things about the G Pro Wireless. You can change all the button assignments, including enabling or disabling any of the 4 side buttons, set up to 5 DPI settings, change the polling rate from 125 up to 1000 Hz, and create up to 5 profiles. Notable absences include a lift-off distance setting, and any option to enable or disable acceleration. This can be changed in Windows, and the mouse defaults to having no acceleration of its own. All profiles and settings can be stored on the mouse's memory, so that you can have the mouse function as you like, even when the Logitech software isn't installed. Performance. The G Pro Wireless uses Logitech's own Hero sensor. It's an in-house version of the 3366, which maintains the exact same performance, whilst consuming way less power. What this means for gamers is that you'll have the performance of the flawless 3366 sensor, in a wireless mouse with a battery life of up to 50 hours. I have already reviewed mice with the Hero sensor, and I must say that it's an impressive piece of technology. It tracks everything I do beautifully and without any faults, translating everything to the game with 1-to-1 accuracy just like you'd expect from a flawless sensor. Is it all worth it though? Is it worth it to go with yet another rechargeable device when wired mice can do the job just fine? In my opinion, yes. There are certainly mice out there with great cables which won't interfere with your gameplay, especially not when you stick them in a bungee, but even modded mice with aftermarket cables just aren't the same as going wireless. Whatever your opinions on wireless versus wired may be though, there's no denying that the G Pro Wireless performs like an absolute top-tier mouse on every front. Logitech was one of the companies at the forefront of the flawless sensor revolution, so they know a thing or two about how a mouse should perform in a gaming environment, and the G Pro Wireless does exactly what it should do on that front. Gaming. To test this particular mouse, I fired up Titanfall 2 single-player campaign, and played several sessions over the course of a week. Mouse tracking was extremely accurate, even down to the slightest shimmy of my hand. I have to imagine if you took a few gamers, and put this mouse along with a wired mouse inside a box, and had them reach in and play with it, none of them would be able to distinguish which was which. It's that good. The back and forward buttons are placed perfectly on the left side, but I had no use for the ones on the right side, so I left them empty. The placeholders the mouse uses are perfectly flush, so I was never able to detect them with my fingers on the far side of the mouse. All the buttons have a very satisfying feel when clicked, and the mouse wheel also uses perfectly spaced clicks you can easily feel, so I never went too far with it and selected a weapon I didn't want, nor did I feel like I needed to spin it with a lot of force. Everything just felt perfect. After a few hours of gaming, the mouse still felt comfortable in my average-sized hand, and I was easily able to grip both sides, with my fingers floating above the buttons, without any discomfort or need to adjust my grip based on its size. If you're the type of gamer who shies away from ambidextrous mice, there's nothing to worry about here. I was in that camp myself, until I tried this mouse. The shape feels great, and the feet glide smoothly too. It's a small and light mouse, and was always easy to control. Verdict. The Logitech G Pro Wireless is gaming mouse perfection. While no mouse can ever be perfect for every gamer, this is the closest I've ever seen one come. Not only does it have a true ambidextrous design, but it also offers the option of wireless, without sacrificing performance, and without the compromise of a short battery life or heavy design. Meanwhile, the tracking provided by its Hero sensor is as good as you can get. There are just two potential stumbling blocks. The first is the lack of a DPI switch on top of the mouse. The other is the price. You get a decent amount for your money, but the G Pro Wireless just doesn't look or feel like a premium mouse, in the way that something like the Razer Mamba does.